When I was 6, my mother and father separated. I was the oldest of 4 siblings. Our mother started dating the wrong guys soon after the separation. They were all wild ones that she seemed to fall for so easily. One guy in particular was a biker that started staying at our house with some of his friends. My sisters and brothers shared one room while they had the run of the house. I was in 1st grade when I came home from school one day and I started yelling, "Mommy!" throughout the house, and there was no reply. I began to yell out louder, and suddenly this man she had been dating came busting out of her bedroom and punched me directly in the face. I had no time to guard myself, plus a man had never punched me anywhere on my body, let alone in my face. I was only 6 years old. I was hurting pretty bad, and my mother, she never tried to help me or defend me. My nose was busted, and this man she let live in our duplex split my lip in an instant. My mother moved us into this house temporarily with this other family. Then the next day, she moved out, leaving us. She abandoned her 4 children, walked away. I guess she didn't want to be a mother anymore. My father was located, and he brought us to this new home. My father was a playboy. He had an awesome job as an air traffic controller, and he was a ladies' man. My father was rarely home. We had nannies to take care of us. It wasn't long that my father married another woman, and we moved again. My father would read out of the Bible to us maybe once a week and try to explain about how big God was in the universe and how small we were. And all I could say is, wow. I still didn't have a clue, but I always was told God loved me. I started thinking about all the other people in the world, that He must love them even more than me, because why would He let my mother walk out of our lives the way that He did? She never called, wrote, or visited us, but after 2 years without seeing or hearing from my mother, she came to visit us for my 8th birthday. She tells us that she loves us, except my brother wasn't there to hear this. Not that he would have really understood anyway. My brother, Mark Adam Lindsay, is mentally challenged, or at least that's what they call it now. Back in 1967, he was mentally retarded with cerebral palsy. She tells us that all she wants to do is be a mommy again. And please forgive her for leaving us, but she really loves us and misses us. She wants us to live with her on a farm in Manatee County with animals. When I was young, I always wanted to live on a farm with animals. I think she knew that, so it would help to persuade us in coming to be with her. So we all asked our father if he wanted us to go, and his answer was, do whatever it is that you want to do. My father was remarried. He had a new family, and we kind of felt like outsiders. Maybe we should just move along and stay with our mother. My mother now only had 3 children to take care of. She told my father that she didn't want me, and that she only wanted my 2 younger sisters. My father told her he wasn't splitting us up. Either you take all 3 of the kids, or all 3 of the kids are staying here with me. So I guess my mom got stuck with me, if she wanted us, or my sisters. My mother came and she got us on our last day of school right at the beginning of the summer break. We moved to Manatee County that day from Miami. I was 8 years old when we moved into a residential neighborhood in Bradenton called Gateway East. There were children all over that I made friends with. We didn't live on a farm either, but we had dogs for animals. They were trained dogs for the police department that my stepfather trained. He was working for the Florida Marine Patrol, but he also worked training the K-9 unit. We couldn't get near the dogs, which were kept in a pen in the backyard. By the way, the man that my mother married was the same man that punched me in the face when I was 6 years old. He started off trying to be nice, like the first day or 2. Then all of a sudden he began yelling and screaming, calling names, and then mind games. He finally got into where he started punching and smacking and backhanding and grabbing me, throwing me, giving me the belt on my bare skin bottom for 10 lashes each time. And if I tried to cover my bottom with my hand to block it, he'd start all over again. I'd get stripes up and down my body, from my back, my butt, back of my thighs, back of my wrists and arms, as he swung wildly at me. I'd cry and get punished in my room, where I'd get fed when it was time, but not allowed to come out of my room unless I had to go to the bathroom, which was cool because I got to come out of my room. He'd make me stand in the corner with my hands straight up over my head, and he'd watch me for hours. And as soon as my arms started to drop down, he'd start hitting me again. He had made me stand outside in my underwear when the temperature got down to like 30 degrees outside, just to see how long I could take it. I'd get up early to go to my friend's house in the neighborhood that we moved into, and suddenly on a Sunday morning I heard this bus coming down the street beeping its horn. My friends were getting on the bus, and I'd ask them, "Where are you guys going?" They said, "To church. You want to come with us?" So I went to church. It was called Gateway Baptist Church, and I met a bunch of really good kids there. It was the first time in my life I'd ever been to church. And it was Vacation Bible School, and I got to learn about Jesus Christ. If I went to Sunday school for 4 Sundays in a row without missing, I'd get my very own Bible. Well, I went 4 Sundays in a row, and I got my own Holy Bible. It was a full-size one, too, not a pocket-sized Bible. Our pastor was so awesome. His name was Jack Shy, and all of us just loved him. He was a very emotional pastor and always stirred my heart and soul listening to him. My sisters and I joined the children's choir and never missed going on Wednesdays and twice on Sundays. We were so loved by this church. We were finally baptized, but our mother didn't want to come for that. My mother didn't believe in God. She was Jewish, but she wasn't Jewish in a religious way, only in a heritage that she was very proud of. I didn't know what Jewish was until I was 11 years old. My stepfather was an alcoholic and a very mean man with a huge chip on his shoulder that my mother loved deeply. I don't know if that's what she loved about him, but she loved him deeply. He would make fun of me for going to church with my sisters with comments like, "You want me to buy you a dress so you can dress up like your sisters?" He didn't want God in his life either. My mother made her decision to be with him no matter what happened to her children. We were good kids. He just didn't want any. So he made my life and theirs horrible. I'd pray all the time, "God, please help me. Why don't you get him to stop hitting me?" I had so many chores that he gave me, but no matter how hard I tried, anything I ever did was never good enough for him. I was beaten on a daily basis for one excuse or another. My self-esteem had completely left me feeling incompetent. The only one I could count on was God. I always knew he loved me. I still kept asking God, why do you let him do this to me? Please, God, help my mother realize what he's doing to us and give her the strength to leave him. There were so many times I thought about suicide to end the suffering and torture that he put me on, but my faith in God kept me from taking my own life. When I thought of all the suffering that Jesus Christ has endured for me, I knew that one day I would make it through this. He gave me strength. I left home when I was 16 years old to get away from all my stepfather's anger. When I turned 17 years old, I enlisted in the Navy to further my education, see the world, and to learn to be a responsible young man. In basic training, I worked as a religious petty officer, a Protestant petty officer, and when I went to California for my A school after graduation, I worked as a chaplain's aide. My life has had a lot of ups and downs. I suffer from post-traumatic stress syndrome. My past comes and goes. Something always reminds me of what it was. I'm petrified to get up and speak in front of people to this very day. My confidence has been shattered. God has given me the strength to forgive. I just can't forget. God has been good to me. He has always been with me. I know things happen for a reason, and this life that I have is because of Him. I have an awesome wife. I have a loving daughter, full of love. My family is just wonderful. I have a good job, a nice home, good health, food on my table, and a great church family. Most of all, I have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, and through Him all things are possible. Thank you, Jesus.